These are the video notes for writing linear equations. Let's look at the first example, which is a graph. If we want to write a slope-intercept form equation for this graph, we need two pieces of information. We need the slope and we need the y-intercept. We're going to use slope-intercept form. To find the slope, I need the rise over the run. I'm looking along this line. I'm going to find 2 points where the line intersects at whole numbers. This point right here works, as well as this point right here. So looking between those 2 points, the rise is 3 units, the run is 4 units. So my slope is going to be 3 over 4. This is a positive slope because if there's a person walking on this line going from left to right, they're going uphill. The y-intercept, my b value, is here at -2. So b is equal to -2. Putting it all together, y is equal to 3/4 times x minus 2. And sometimes instead of y, you might see it as f of x is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. Looking at the next example, in this example they give us 2 points and then ask us to write it in slope-intercept form. We can use the formula for slope. y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1. x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 is 9 minus 3. x2 minus x1 is -5 minus 10. 9 minus 3 is 6. -5 minus 10 is -15. And -6 over 15, if we check if that can be simplified, both those numbers can be divided by 3. So -2 over 5 is my slope. Then to find the y-intercept, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my slope-intercept form equation. So y is equal to mx plus b, but this time y is equal to, I know what the slope is, it's -2/5. So I'm going to say -2/5 x and I don't know what the y-intercept is because from the points I can't tell. So I'm just going to leave that as plus b for now. Then I'm going to take one of the points that they give me. In this case, I'm going to take the x of 10 and a y of 3, and I'm going to substitute that in for y and x in this equation. So instead of y, I'm going to substitute the y value of 3 equals -2/5 times, and then for x, I'm going to substitute in an x of 10, because I'm using that point x of 10, y of 3, and then plus b is what I'm trying to figure out. Then I can simplify. 3 equals -2/5 times 10. You can do that in your calculator, but -2 times 10 would be -20. -20 divided by 5 would be -4, plus b. I want to figure out what b is, so to get b all by itself, I'm going to undo the -4. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I have 7 equals b. So now I know what the y-intercept is going to be. And now I can put my full equation together. Y equals, my slope was -2/5. X, my y-intercept was 7. There's my slope-intercept form equation. Let's look at the last example. We have a table. To write an equation in either point-slope form or slope-intercept form, we need to first figure out what's the slope. So we're going to do y2 minus y1, or that's the same thing as what's this difference between this change in y. 5 minus 13 is negative 8. And then the change in the x values, 2 minus negative 1 is positive 3. I just did this in my head, but you can also write out those steps. So I know that the slope is change in y, which is negative 8, over change in x, which is positive 3. So negative 8 thirds. Once I know the slope, I can use point-slope form. Point-slope form is up here. And the x and y one in this formula, that's one point the line goes through. So I can use any points in this table for my x1, y1. So I'm going to say that my x1 and y1 are going to be, and I'm going to choose this one for example, x of 2, y of 5, so it's going to be 2, 5. So my x1 is 2 and my y1 will be 5. Let's put the formula together. So I need y minus y1. So y minus, and y1 is 5, equals m times, so m is the slope of negative 8 thirds, times x minus x1. My x1 is going to be 2. And here is my point slope form for this line. Now, to get this line in slope-intercept form, I'm going to erase my previous work here so I can get more space. There's two different ways. I can use the method that I did in the previous example, right? I can set up a y equals mx plus b, plug in the slope, plug in an xy value, and get the y-intercept that way. Another way is I can rearrange my point-slope form equation. So I'm going to take that equation, and I'm actually going to show the work for all of this over here on the right, just so you can see it more easily. So our point-slope form equation was y minus 5 equals negative 8 thirds times x minus 2. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll distribute this negative 8 thirds using distributive property to each of those things in the parentheses. So I'll have y minus 5 equals negative 8 thirds x, and then negative 8 thirds times negative 2 is positive 16 thirds. Then to get this into slope-intercept form, I need y all by itself. But right now y is being subtracted with 5, so I'm going to undo the minus 5. And right now I'm just going to erase a little bit to make more space. So add 5 to both sides. So y is equal to negative 8 thirds x, and then 16 thirds plus 5. You can use your calculators for that. I'm going to try to do that in my head. 16 thirds is 5 and 1/3. So 5 and 1/3 plus 5 is 10 and 1/3. or you might see this as 31 over 3. That's the same thing. Okay, and so here we have our slope-intercept form equation.